Fezzes are still cool. Hey, I'm Amy and welcome back. We have after this one, we have 3 episodes left in this season 11 of Doctor Who, but I'm here to talk about season 11, episode 7, Kerblam. This episode was pretty interesting, and it was a great follow-up to last week's episode. And in that episode, we got to see Yaz reconnect with her roots and see her grandma as a young girl, and kind of get a backstory on something that she didn't necessarily know about her grandma. And in that episode, something that I have been talking about through this entire season so far is the fact that we have not been getting any episodes with any closure whatsoever. They've just been ending and kind of leaving the audience feeling like we're missing something, or something hasn't happened, or maybe that, my theory at least, is maybe those bad guys or villains or whatever, the monster of the week, is going to be coming back in the finale. But I don't know right now. I don't know for sure. And this last week's episode felt very much like we got some closure, and nothing is really going to come back from that episode, if anything is going to be coming back from any of these previous episodes at all. And we got the very same, at least I got most of that feeling in this episode today. So a quick summary of this episode, Kerblam. The Doctor gets a mysterious message and a surprise package from the galaxy's largest retailer, Kerblam. So her and the companions go to Kerblam's warehouse and try to figure out what's up. So quick thoughts on this. I thought it was a very well-rounded episode. It felt very much like the classic New Who episodes that we are so used to seeing, and I really love that. We had, for the most part, a great sense of closure at the end, and it was pretty fun throughout the entire thing. There were a couple twists and turns, but if you were watching carefully, you probably noticed them coming. So without further ado, everything from here on out has spoilers. This episode definitely left me with a feeling of everything just ended nice and neatly for the most part. I will get into some of that when I get to the theories portion, but there was this little kind of ending where Yaz mentioned wanting to take Dan's necklace back to his daughter to tell her how much he loved her and cherished that necklace that she had given him, and it didn't really go anywhere. That's kind of where that happened. So that felt a little bit like a lot of the endings of previous episodes this season. I'm kind of used to it by now. It's annoying, but I'm kind of used to it, and that's not something that I think will be going anywhere else, but it's just kind of weird that they keep ending movies, or keep ending episodes like this. Not to mention that the rest of the episode had a very clean and concise ending, so just throwing something like that in there, it felt a little offhand, and it just did not fit with the vibe. I mean, I understand her wanting to do that, but it just didn't feel like something that really was necessary within the episode overall. And those robots were super creepy. I mean, they reminded me a little bit of, well, kind of, those Victorian robots. I think they were in season 1 with Rose in the fireplace. Yeah. Those Victorian robots with the weird mask, I think that's the ones I'm thinking of. But yeah, they just reminded me a little bit of that. It was a very strange, very weird, but at the same time, this entire episode gave me vibes of what Amazon is going to be in a couple years, and it's really scary because, you know, who wants Amazon to be delivering exploding bubble wrap? Everybody loves bubble wrap. That's just very scary, because this one hit really close to home. I mean, I wouldn't say like really close to home, but it's like, this is something that could possibly happen. Not the exploding bubble wrap, but like everything becoming automated. I mean, it already is. I know with my job, we work really closely with Amazon, and not in the same capacity as like shipping stuff, but Amazon in general that we work with is very automated. It's very tough to get to a real life person. So this is kind of, you know, this is the real deal. This is where everything is going. Everything is going automated, and it's really terrifying. Robots are gonna take over the world. And this episode also brought a little bit more of Ryan's backstory with where he used to work before he started his journey with the Doctor, and it got us a little bit more I guess it gave us a little bit more of him trying to overcome his disability, trying to get over all of that, but it's something that I feel like I kind of forgot about. They don't really bring it up as much as they probably could or should, especially where they started in the first episode with him scaling that scaffolding. I feel like it's something that they probably should talk about because it also seems like it's the reason that, or one of the many reasons why he went with the doctor in the first place, was to overcome this disability and better himself, not necessarily just to have adventures and, you know, just have some fun. He wanted to better himself and get over this, and it doesn't feel like we're doing that a whole lot. Feels like they could play this up a little bit more. There's only 3 episodes left for them to really get into this, and they haven't even really been getting into a lot of the stuff I think that they should have, or that I thought that they would have, especially like Graham and Ryan's, wow, I said Graham really weird, especially Graham and Ryan's relationship. I feel like they kind of point at it a couple times in each episode, like maybe once or twice in each episode. Last week they didn't really do it at all. They kind of left a Yaz and Graham little relationship tidbit in there, but nothing with Ryan and Graham necessarily. But in this one, you do get Graham poking a little bit of fun at Ryan. And I feel like they need more moments like this where Ryan and Graham are starting to connect a little bit more. You don't really see them building a relationship, which I thought they would, especially since Ryan's nan has passed away, Graham's wife. I feel like it's something that they played up a lot in the first episode that they don't continue with throughout. So again, that's leaving me a little bit unsatisfied, but hopefully they have 3 more episodes plus the New Year special, which I just found out about this week, or well, last week, that they're going to be doing a New Year's episode. It feels like there's something missing. And we do get to see something that they have been doing a lot of throughout this season is Yaz kind of taking control and being a strong, independent woman and just kind of being herself, showing that she is meant to do a lot more. The first one of those is when she gets an assignment to go into the deep, dark parts of the warehouse, and Dan kind of says, no, you don't need to do that. This is your first day. She's like, you know what? I'll be fine. But in the end, Dan decides to go down there and ends up saving Yaz's life. And then the second one is when Charlie is trying to set off the bubble wrap bombs, and she kind of grabs him and does what any good police officer would do and kind of stops him, which is something that, I mean, they don't really show women doing a whole lot, at least in Doctor Who. I feel like I haven't seen a lot of Torchwood, but I feel like that's something that you see a lot in Torchwood. But again, this goes with the theme of strong female empowerment throughout this season that I really, really love, and I kind of enjoy seeing, even though it does get a little bit repetitive. But, you know, I really like Yaz as a character. So, some theories. Well, I have one theory for this episode, and that goes along with the closure I felt through this episode. There was the way, it was more of the cinematography of this one shot at the very end when Graham puts the bubble wrap back in the box after everyone tells him not to kind of pop it because it could be a bomb still. And it kind of just like, the camera's low on the ground and you see everyone in the background in the box, but the bubble wrap is in the foreground, and it pushes in a little bit on it, and you feel like maybe that's going to come back later on. Maybe it will. I mean, I feel like the way that they show that, if you're going by the standard book of filmmaking, that's something that's going to show up later on. So maybe it will. So that's my theory for this episode. Even though this episode had a very great sense of closure, there is something that feels like it's going to be coming back along with a lot of these other quote-unquote villains. And finally, my favorite part of this episode was when they were hiding out waiting for the floor manager, the warehouse manager, to leave his office. They're hiding in this little cubby hole. For some reason they were talking about wasps, and the doctor says, speaking of wasps, did I ever tell you about me and Agatha Christie? Which I absolutely love because it's just a funny throwaway moment, but just like with all of the Doctor mentioning their past experiences with other famous people throughout history, it felt like a very throwaway moment. But in this moment, it is a mention to a previous episode, which a lot of the times we don't necessarily get, unless there's some things with the classic Who that I don't know that they have mentioned in throwaway things like this throughout past seasons. But I love the fact that this is a mention to a new Who episode that I know and I love, instead of just some exploit that you don't get to see on camera with the Doctor and some famous or some notable historical person. But that is everything for me for Season 11, Episode 7, Kerblam of Doctor Who. Let me know your thoughts on this episode in the comments down below. Did you enjoy it? I know it's not my favorite. It's probably like my top 3 episode of this season so far, but I would love to know your thoughts. Did you like it as much as I did? Did you like it as much as you liked last week's episode? And so on and so forth in the previous episodes. Let me know. I would love to know your opinion, especially since there are only 3 episodes left in this season, plus a New Year's episode on, I believe, the 1st of January. Don't know if it's on New Year's Eve or New Year's. I think it's on New Year's Day. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really truly do appreciate every single one of you. Let me know who you are in the comments down below, and let's be friends. If you enjoyed this, leave a like and subscribe if you're new, because I love talking all things movies, TV shows, filmmaking, film history, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you next time. Bye!